for such a long time, and of course the LPL's wheelhouse for forever at this point, for about 2 years. We've really been making the most of that pick over here. So now NIP, what are they going to go towards? Are they going to go back towards something like
could have rinsed the repeat of game
Nico?
1.
I mean, we could see that, but then there wouldn't be something like that Xayah for Photic. He was the one that picked that that time, of course. This would be a bit different, though. I mean, he found the success on it in game 2.
Give it. Oh, okay. Last second, they're gonna go with actually a big pick for Photic himself in the Jinx. A lot of breathing room in the fights, but also that uptick in momentum once you get excited. Something exactly Photic will be looking for, because he is that late game carry for NIP.
Xiaohu monstered Angel in game 1 in this lane matchup of the Azir versus the Nico, so that would be dangerous prospects for NIP. However, in game 1, it did feel like NIP didn't have a mid jungle which they could play through with the Nico. I mean, they could play through the team fights. They could play, yeah, they could play through the team fights, but just not through the laning phase. So Shadow, I would like to see him on something that could help his lanes earlier. I think his team needs that.
I saw Xiaohu yawning there, you know, locking in the Azir third time. Maybe a little bored, but he has to wear
God
the mantle.
God gives his hardest battles to his sleepiest soldiers, Mazel.
They have to, you know, give him the crown of the Emperor once again. We do get the Rel lock in for Weibo, so it will take away some of that flexibility that NIP like to play for with that pick, but it also gives so much engage potential to Crisp, to Weibo. We'll see what NIP's response is going to be here.
So they did lock in the Nocturne in game 1, and they do so again. So what the difference is between game 1 and now is that the bot lane matchup is going to be different. That tilted the matchup into Weibo's favor in that game, because the Ezreal and the Leona really just ran roughshod over Photic and Zhuo. So maybe with a different lane and potentially a counterpick support again. Well, of course it will be because the Rel's already locked in, but maybe getting a counterpick duo once you know what the AD carry matchup is, maybe that will change things for NIP's bot lane, and that will then allow Shadow to not just have to be babysitting bot lane and watching them die for double kills in the early game.
Get some respect thrown over towards Light. Not going to give him the Ezreal that popped off so hard in game number 1 off those 2 kills in bot lane early on. We'll see what that focus is going to be for Weibo, right? They do have some very strong support still on the table that NIP could be looking at, so they go ahead and take the Alistar away from Zhuo.
Again, just trying to ban stuff away that can kind of stop that initial engage. Something like that Rel. I don't think that Rel is countered by Alistar anymore, because you can kind of stun and then go into your knockup combo. But I think banning away something that can hold the door shut in front of a Vi and a Rel ulting is quite important. I think you might think to ban away something like a Braum now as well. That could also be fairly important. Either the Braum or the Nautilus, both fairly high value bans here.
I do like the Varus ban towards Light. Just give a little bit more utility and actually CC to a Weibo team who already has so much of that. We do get the Nautilus locked away, though, by Weibo. We should see, okay, it is just going to be that Rakan locked in for Zhuo. So the peel, but also the engage potential. We saw him actually come out so clutch in that last game with this pick.
And opposed to something like a Braum, which has to sit there and eat Azir autos from his soldiers, Rakan can threaten the Azir and move out of those active soldier ranges. That would be a very different kind of pick. We haven't seen that much Kalista in the LPL, but with so many AD carries removed, it will be locked in. So now you have a way to pull Crisp out of the engage, but you're still going to have to be very careful where you tread. If the lights go off and Nico hits you, that Kalista is completely dead. It is, however, a kill lane in the early game, which is what really flipped the matchup between these two teams in game 1 with a similar jungle matchup.
And I also love it. I remember initially with the combo, Rel and Kalista are dirty with the engages that you can do. This is also, you know, not a far off champion for Light. This is a champion he knows well. This will be his 30th career game competitively on this pick, and they will be looking to down smash that bottom lane. We do get an interesting one for the top side. We get the TheShy back on the Cassante from game number 1. We also get the Jax for Invincible this time around.
Jax is easier to play in team fights than something like the Fiora in that game 1. If you get to flash stun, you can join the engage. You kind of need to have your summoners available in this kind of game to reach that very long range backline. Once again, Weibo running a similar composition to game 1, which is this long range backline, which is then going to be peeled for by 3 frontliners, and of course Light will give some extra safety to Crisp on that.
We have an IP with this style of composition. We'll see if they can learn the lessons from game 1 itself. We'll see, especially all eyes on Weiwei versus Shadow as we get into game number 3 between Weibo in NIP. Let those gyos ring.
敌军还有30秒到达战场，碾碎他。
As the energy fills the arena in Xi'an, so does Summoner's Rift feel alive and electric. Nymeare, we got a Game 3 Poggers coming on here as both teams, again, have had very, very holistic wins in Game 1, Game 2. Now we're back with iterations and kind of some deja vus from the series so far.
Well, deja vus. See how trained these are.
Got the tie-in, man. Synergy's on point. After all the internet disconnection issues, you know, we have to have something going for us.
I'll take your word for it, buddy. What we will see is the difference between Game 1 and Game 3 in terms of the jungle starts. Shadow is not going to go for a Raptor start at level 1, partly because of the strength of the level 1 kill threat from Light and Chris bot lane. If they were to walk up and defend that Raptor start, it would have been a very dangerous prospect for NIP's jungle. Invincible misses the sun towards top side, so he won't get the hardest trade up there. Looking to maybe get himself a grass proc. Shy looking to trade back as well.
And something we've seen sway a lot of this matchup so far has been this bottom lane. We have Light Kalista on the board, something we haven't seen a lot of, but that is going to be influencing this jungle skirmish that weiwei is going for very early. The level 2 that he's looking to take on a Shadow with that priority bot lane might just go his way.
Okay, but what did Shadow level? Because if he's leveled his spell shield, he might have mind gamed this and you can stop the weiwei Viq coming through. But this is the thing about Kalista. Kalista almost always gets bot lane shove. It allows you to push in. This reminds me of what Photic and Zhuo were doing Kalista Renata last year on V5. Shadow is alone in his jungle.
There's nothing that you can do as well. Chris stepping up here. weiwei should be able to take away this blue buff. You get the crash down. Actually, Shadow, you overextended in the spell shield as well as the flash going to come through, but he might still die as those spears are ripped from his body. It's Light that gets first blood. As Shadow has been taken out, there's nowhere to hide for the ninjas. And Weibo actually with Angel's help might get something back here, but it's Xiaohu steps up. The Emperor has arrived, and everyone should bow to the knees. Angel goes down 2, and Light is 2-0. I'm getting a little bit of deja vu here, Nymeare.
Kalista with 2 kills and an assist? Are you kidding me? Light could not have a better start for a better champion to run away with an early game lead. Very few AD carries snowball as hard as a Kalista with early laning leads, and a lot of that comes from Shadow misplaying the spell shield. He did level up the spell shield at level 2, but he doesn't manage to get out of the CC combo from Crisp and the rest of the team coming through. NIP, they've ran back a similar draft to Game 1, but similarly to Game 1, a bot lane lead has led to a disastrous outcome. Watch this, right? He does level the spell shield, but he doesn't get it in time to stop the combo coming in from Crisp. He just misplays. He doesn't have the reaction time to get that spell shield out and gets absolutely destroyed by the early power of the Kalista.
And you see the wraparound. Light is playing so confidently here, and those are the kinds of killer instincts you love to see from this guy. And the fact that Xiaohu makes it, Angel was here, yes, he gets the pullback, but it is 2 kills, and we've seen what this bot lane can do with a little advantage, and that was on an Ezreal. This is on a Kalista.
This is, I mean, what more do you say about this? For those of you that didn't really follow the meta in spring last year, we saw an awful lot of Kalista Renata, and Kalista Rel, similar kind of take over the lane because you threaten the kill so much, you get to go onto the wave and just kind of run away with it. Invincible's jumping forward, weiwei's up here too, doesn't have flash, might still be able to get a kill.
Oh my goodness, the buffer there from TheShy. Invincible has to flash. Q3 will not be available for TheShy, but they will revisit that. Look at this crash here as well. The flash burned, Invincible just going to try to clean up the scraps.
At least he picks up the farm, so it's not the worst thing ever. Invincible able to walk away with a little less HP and a flash down, but alive nonetheless. Light and Chris, they are so ready to take over this game though. Photic and Zhuo, they were the masters of playing this when they were on V5. Exactly. This was their combo. But what can they do? They know exactly what happens with this combo. There has to be a real bead of sweat rolling down the forehead after that early play. They know exactly what the Kalista can do with a kill lane.
I mean, if you saw there, you know, 149 days since this pick has been played, and it was Photic versus AL in their matchup. So now I want to see, you know, Light taking it over to Photic, but the way that Weibo will play around this, I do expect heavy presence down towards this bot lane, as you can already see developing.
And if it weren't bad enough, NIP have a significant deficit in the jungle as well now. They're not going to be able to go towards that dragon. That's expected. The Kalista has control of the bot side of the map now. And wherever light goes on the map, Weibo will just, well, I mean, in a very fitting way, banish the shadows. Shadow cannot be on that same side of the map. No flash, no way out of these plays, and no ability to fight their way out of it. So that's going to be Dragon going down for Weibo. And when it comes around to the first Herald fights of the game, I don't think it's going to get any better. Weibo, they're in such firm control of this game. NIP, it is on them to pick off an isolated target. And much like in Game 1, try as they might, it's going to be very difficult, but they have to find a way to pick off someone from the Weibo team so they can get some vision and control back.
And if we look back at game number 1, it was something where, you know, they combined really nicely for NIP to get those early dragon stack, and they were trying to build towards something. But right now, Weibo is literally building bodies as, here we go, light another kill, 3-0. And the fact that Weibo just consistently are finding the picks on bot lane.
At this point, I feel like Shadow should rename to Sonic to the speed at which NIP is running it down through this bot side of the map, because this is just utterly disturbing. Like, what do you do at this point?
You know that level from Sonic Adventures 2 where you're running down San Francisco and it's like a vertical run down, you're getting chased by the truck? Well, Weibo is the truck, and you're not passing this level at this point.
No, they're absolutely not. They're joining in the traffic, and they just see like a truck coming in the other direction. It's like, well, that's a problem. But what do you do at this point? This is the problem with this kind of draft, right? I mean, once you fall behind against the Kalista, you cannot fight the Kalista. You're hoping for a mistake. And the problem is when Weibo have had leads, despite their inconsistencies, which we will keep talking about through side lanes, we saw that in Game 2, when they have leads, they play them out really well. This is a team that beat JDG. They took a game off of BLG. They have taken games off of some of the very top teams. And when they're in a lead, you can see exactly why that's the case.
We talk about some consistently, or maybe the lack thereof, some consistency. But when they show up, we had said they are not some slouches that are just trying to make it in the LPL. They are a star-studded roster who has found their strides in certain moments. And we were wondering for Weibo how they came into the playoffs. This is the first time we're seeing them here. And if they had found some more stability in their practice, in their prep for the playoffs. But we're seeing a little bit of that back and forth so far. But with a very strong Game 3 performance, maybe they go on the right track here.
Crisp has put down some wards in the top side jungle, which means that even if Shadow were to hit level 6, which I don't think he will
Q3 here
in time for the Herald, he might get himself level 6 from the bot side of the map, but I don't think he'll be able to get level 6 and head towards top side for this Herald. And then both supports run back towards bot side. Weibo, they have completely pinned Shadow into a box, and what can he do at this point? Again, once again, it feels like playing something which requires his laners to have advantages in this Nocturne has not worked out for NIP in the early game.
Is that one of those boxes that you open up and there's nothing inside and they're like, oh no, but it's Shadow?
Was this like some very strange Schrodinger's cat or something like that experiment where you open the box, is the cat dead or alive? Right now the Nocturne is still alive. We'll see next time we open up the box. We'll see if that changes.
Oh no. I don't want to know what's in the box. What's in the box? Anyways, we got the Rift Herald here for Weiwei in mid lane. If you get that reference, I love you. Anyways, Rift Herald for Xiaohu I think is important, right? I know I was talking so much about the focus for Weiwei and Shadow in this one, but Xiaohu has still been that undercurrent. If he wins against Angel, Weibo just get free rampaging rights around Summoner's Rift.
And when you put a Herald down into mid lane, and you still have control after it, if second Herald goes down, that's mid lane turret gone for free. Yes, you won't get the full plates from it, but getting a free outer turret when even something like Nico has good wave clear, it's such a big win. Once you lose that mid lane outer turret, if second Herald goes down, NIP, this combo, somehow, it can actually get harder to play. I didn't think it was possible, given the deficit they're in, but this can actually get worse for them. NIP, I don't think they can afford to give over a second Herald, because that would effectively nullify the combo in exactly the same way in which it happened in Game 1.
We are sub 10 minutes, now cresting that 10-minute mark, and there is already an over 3,000 lead for Weibo. They're getting plates bot lane, as well as everywhere else across the map. And with a reset coming through very shortly from NIP, maybe they have some response on this dragon that's spawning in about 50 seconds.
Do they have the stats, though? That's always going to be the question. They don't have level 6 on Rakan even just yet. It's 10 minutes in, and they don't have level 6 on their support. Crisp has been
That's
able to
really
get out
rough.
on the map, put down wards, and still has the level 6. But Zhuo, with the deaths early on, with some of the time spent outside of lane, so far behind the pace of the game. The entirety of NIP is so far behind the pace of the game. Can't say that one enough. Dragon coming up. I don't think Weibo need to force it too hard if they don't want to. I think they want to play through their lanes, right? They get the wave push, they play off of that because they're winning so hard in that area. That would be the formulaic way to approach these objectives.
They have first item spikes for Weibo now as well. The Leandri is completed for Xiaohu, but you got that Kraken Slayer for Light. As you do have Angel and Zhuo hovering around here and just trying to get some vision around the Dragon Pit. You have Shadow actually down on this side of the map as well. Reset is coming from weiwei on the top side, so would expect some more presence from Weibo bottom side here very shortly.
Light resets, gets back to lane, and that's a huge item spike in its own right, because now Light gets to pick up the wave at tower. You can't dive him under tower. He gets to walk with his support in safety. And as long as he doesn't walk up with this wave, weiwei will be on the bot side of the map in time to respond to a play. They need to stay closer together. There's a chance that there is an engage coming in through level 6 hit by Zhuo now. weiwei's close though.
When does he flip the light switch? We want to see the exact moment. Hey, there it is! They got the lights out and they're trying to take out Weibo. I don't know if they get that engage. The re-engage from Weibo, and here comes weiwei. It is disastrous right now for NIP. The fans of the Ninjas in Pyjamas need to look away because you just got wiped. 4 kills to Weibo.
Oh, back into the dark they go. The Ninjas not successful with their assassination plot this time. And Invincible's died on the top side. Weibo, they massively outplayed towards the bot side. I don't know where the Light is on a hair trigger, but that reaction time on that engage was utterly inhuman. Sidesteps with the Marshall Poise outside of the initial engage and returns around the play. That was inhuman reactions, which gives Weibo a massive advantage.
This guy, Light, he might get caught out here. They're going to TP to try to chase him down, but he is 5-0, and for a reason. He came over from LNG. He was a crucial piece to that team's somewhat success, but the fact that he is feeling himself so damn hard on Weibo Gaming, it just feels like we're getting that renaissance right now.
Watch this, right? Because actually, this is a mistake from Weibo's bot lane. They're too far from their jungle, but look at that hop! That is so good. I don't know whether that was a prediction or whether it was just a happy coincidence. Either way, it looks so slick. Combo coming in after Crisp as well. The ult saves them. Fight on the bot side in picture-in-picture though.
TheShy in a little bit of trouble. We've seen that happen before. We'll actually make it all alive, but I want to look at this solo kill. The Invincible just gets taken to task here.
I think as soon as they know the ult's down bot side saying, okay, Nocturne's going there. TheShy just says, okay, free ride. Pushes him into turret in the way that we've seen so much in this matchup. And Invincible completely oversteps his bounds.
But that is something we've seen from Invincible, right? We were talking a lot about the inconsistencies of TheShy, but Invincible also himself, when he shows up on a good day, he can take some of the best top laners in our league, but he also has been a leaky sieve sometimes for NIP.
Well, looks like we've had both sides of TheShy today. Solo kills, many solo deaths. But when they're on...
with more plates?
Light is now Thanos. Welcome. He has found himself another Infinity Stone. And it only gets worse from here, because he presses the E key and half of your HP bar disappears immediately. So watch out for that one. He's about to hit himself 2 items at this point too, at a very quick timing. He's got the Rage Knife in inventory already. Give him another couple of waves, he will be at a Rage Blade. And it does feel like, again, NIP have this huge, huge issue of who gets to the Callista, and when you're there, who kills them?
That's the hardest question. Weibo also getting yet another first turret in this series. It has been them every single game, even in their loss, making sure that that continues to be consistent for them. It is a big lead for Weibo so shortly into the game, under 15 minutes, but Shadow is on a flank here. He will be spotted out in the end, I believe, at the last second there, but Weibo looking for more, as they should, as trying to make sure that Light can get the second item here with the mid lane push.
So Nocturne is not that long range. They're going now, though.
Okay, Paranoia's popped. They got the combo. It started off an Angel, but a big Emperor's divided. Look who's on the back line. It's weiwei within the Fates call to Crisp to get the lockdown. It is so hard to fight when you are this far behind early on. There's just no way. And Shadow all by himself should be able to make it out of this one.
Oh, he's going to fight himself over the Hexscape, but Does it get better from here? Crisp is on his own. He might be able to spot him out with a vision plan. Shadow will make his way out.
8,000 gold lead at 15.5 minutes. This is a scrim game.
I think at this point, NIP would have been asking for a remake right from the early levels. Shadow.
Do Weibo get baited by their overzealousness? That was the next question that was about to come up. Luckily they don't, and Weibo make it out.
And this is around second Herald. You know what we were talking about in regards to giving up a free mid lane out of turret if the second Herald goes down? That's happened now. NIP, they had their shot in the chamber, but it's reliant on their ultimates, and they don't land the killer blow. It's not a knockout. So the shadow boxing not going very well for NIP, and the actual boxing is going even worse. So the Herald goes down. Weibo will pick that up for themselves. You'd imagine that it's going to be mid lane turret either going down to Xiaohu on his own, or a Herald will finish that off by itself. Not too much later. You see Light go back to base, picks up a second item at 16 minutes. And this will happen in the replay. Let's get him to this point. Because NIP, they spot themselves a rare opportunity to fight without the Kalista there. Now, Mazel, I'm a big fan of Lord of the Rings. Return of the King is one of my favorite movies of all time. And one of the great scenes in that is Gandalf riding across the Pelennor fields with light spewing out of a staff, and then the forces of darkness, they run away. That's exactly what happens here. They find themselves a kill and they go, right, okay, back off into the shadows we go. Light is not to be messed with.
You know those mag light flashlights, those like piercing lights? I'm just imagining Light as that, right? Like, because I don't know if you've ever, used it as a weapon, but those things hurt if you drop them on yourself, things like that. But they also are just extremely bright. And right now, it just feels like there is no place that NIP can hide because Light is shining through everywhere. And right, just like your reference, I think not only in the game itself, but it has been a growth of Light as a whole throughout this split for Weibo, right? We see Xiaohu, we see TheShy, the resurgence of Weiwei, Crisp. We have so many world champions on this team, but it is Light from LNG that I feel like has made a big difference for them as a whole throughout this season.
And I think Light in particular, when I remember back to their days on LNG, the big criticism was, oh, he's too aggressive at points. But he's really managed to rein that in and turn it into a really lethal weapon. He's here again. He can hop forward through the Raptors if he wants to. Not going to now. Again, NIP, they cannot afford to fight around Light if Light doesn't immediately die.
We're already on timer for 4.5 minutes. A Dragon Soul and a Hex Soul for Weibo. Even more detriment to NIP's chances. Zhuo and Invincible actually trying to step forward. They're both leaping away to safety as Weibo just going to try to push it up the gut here in the mid lane. They just got 5 members here. Shelly doing some work in side lane here. Didn't know you had a 6th member, Weibo.
I mean, the good work for Xiaohu means that they take down mid lane outer turret without having to use the Herald, which means they get advantages elsewhere. It really is rolling up all Weibo right now. Another siege coming through. That's the engage from TheShy.
Nice, all out there from TheShy. Zhuo just getting taken off the board here. The chess pieces are starting to stack up for Weibo. They've got the Sun Disc as well at their backs. You see the reset actually come through from the bottom lane of NIP. Siege is called off. So get a replay of the Rift Herald doing some work in the side lane, taking that one out all by itself. Look at that work.
Oh, an actual 1v1 with the tower. Incredible.
Well, classic moment, right? You're just playing the game, you're having fun, you're looking for a solo bowler, your teammate comes in, steals the kill. Wow.
Well, I can't respect the honorable 1v1. Incredible. Xiaohu, we expected better of you. I mean, maybe he can make up for it with a great team fight. He has 2 items on himself, the Nash's Tooth. I mean, this isn't the Crown, is it? This is full offense. And in the first game, you think, okay, well, the Crown helps if the Nocturne's diving onto them. I think Xiaohu looked at the early game and said, well, if I just do enough damage, like, that's game over anyway, because NIP do not have the stats to take an extended fight.
The best defense is a good offense. That's what I learned. You just fight until you can't. I think NIP might have taken that one a little bit too much to heart. I do love that they went back for this iteration, trying to get some correct execution from game number 1 that they didn't feel like went their way, but it has been this bot lane early on that makes everything so difficult. And now Angel is just completely caught here on the side. I don't even know if he'll have a chance. There's the Pop Blossom. They have a little bit of damage back. The Emperor's Divide from Xiaohu, though, and he's there to rip them apart. That's that Nashor's Tooth. That's all that damage, while TheShy is pushing in an inhib tower in bot lane.
And once again, NIP, they try and find a fight away from the Kalista. Kalista's pushing mid lane. Not even that, but they don't need Light.
Oh, Photic goes down. There was another solo kill. TheShy is taking down Invincible. A double kill goes to Weiwei, and it is open season for Weibo Gaming, and the prey is the ninjas in pajamas.
How is this the same team that played game 2? From both of these teams, TheShy, I think he's a little bit angry after that Rumble performance, disappointed perhaps in himself and his own side laning ways. Gets himself 2 solo kills. He's not really had much chance to get involved in this game. He finds his own ways to get himself on the board though. Baron going down shortly after this point. Weibo are ruthless with these early game leads.
It is 21 minutes in, and we have an almost 15,000 gold lead. I don't think I've ever seen this in my entire time casting, which hasn't been that long. But my goodness, this is a heck of a lead. It's a bounce back, like you said, from Weibo. We're going to take a look back at that solo bolo from the TheShy.
Make sure he's got the W channeled so the Counter-Strike doesn't get value out of it. So there's no CC. TheShy resets his cooldowns with the all-out, goes straight in. Really well played, understands the matchup, outplays Invincible again.
That's the way you do it. The Cassante has been looking really, really good for TheShy so far in this series, as well as the Barons finding a lot of promise for Weibo. They still have 2 minutes on this buff. They still have a lot of siege potential. They did take some of the base defenses a little bit early, but they are just looking to press their advantage any way possible. About 40 seconds from now, they'll have a Dragon Soul.
Exactly, because sometimes there were some metas in the past where taking too much of the base early was kind of a problem, particularly when you took an early inhib, because you just give people chance to free farm. When there's a Hex Soul on the table, you don't care about that.
Yeah,
they're never going to be able to leave their base. And, you know, it has somehow gotten worse again for NIP, because not only will they have to kill Light once, they'll have to kill him twice. Guardian Angel builds up, TheShy's pushing in anyway. Weibo, they can leave someone to go back for the Dragon and just have everyone else holding NIP in the base. There is no way they can contest.
That just felt like a bully fight right there. His entire team is around him. Oh, goodness, that might be a little too deep. They're already on the inhib tower. It is down. You don't have defenses to fight under. But here comes Angel with the flank from nowhere. We'll see if he can pierce through and make it so. There's the Pop Blossom. There's the combo. The flash from Light. He's out of there, though, and immediately turned on its head. And that's just a big old bank being dropped on NIP. Invincible tries to find something, but it is a clean ace and a dominant resurgence from Weibo Gaming in this best of 5. They were angry, and they took it out on NIP. Game point, and that is 2-1 for Weibo.
They couldn't even take the first health bar of the AD carry. That was a perfect blueprint for how you use Kalista. Kate, take control of the first wave, walk into the enemy jungle, flip the jungle matchup, get yourself ahead. It's a great